Welcome back to the channel, dear brothers and sisters. Today we're going to look into some words Jesus spoke that hit differently in our generation, a generation obsessed with being liked, followed, validated, and approved. He said, "If the world hates you, remember it hated me first." Most people hear that and think it's just about persecution, but the truth is, Jesus was revealing something much deeper, something about identity, alignment, and spiritual tension between two kingdoms. Today, we're going to break down what Jesus really meant and why this message is more relevant now than ever. What Jesus was actually saying. Jesus spoke these words in John 15, verses 18 through 25, right after telling his disciples to abide in him, to stay connected, rooted, and aligned with his life. Then he shifts the tone. He basically says, if you truly walk with me, if you truly reflect me, don't expect applause, expect friction. Why? Because Jesus wasn't hated for being nice. He was hated because he exposed darkness, hypocrisy, pride, and false religion. He confronted systems built on ego and self-worship. And he tells his followers, if you were of the world would love you as its own. In other words, if you blend in, you'll be accepted. If you stand out, you'll be attacked. What the world actually means. When Jesus says the world, he's not talking about people. He's talking about a system, a mindset, a spiritual culture, a culture built on self over God, image over integrity, comfort over conviction, popularity over truth, feelings over holiness, and approval over obedience. The world system is allergic to anything that exposes its emptiness. So when Jesus says the world will hate you, he's saying, if you live by my truth, you will naturally collide with a culture built on lies. Why this hits harder today. Let's be honest, we live in the most approval-addicted generation in history. People change their beliefs to avoid backlash. People silence their convictions to avoid cancellation. People compromise their identity to fit in with trends. And people fear being different more than being disobedient. And Jesus' words cut right through all of that. Because today, the world doesn't just hate you quietly. It hates publicly, digitally, and algorithmically. You could be simply canceled for standing for the same truth Jesus stood for. But Jesus says, they hated me without reason. In other words, sometimes the hate you receive isn't about you. It's about what you represent. And sometimes it's not even about you at all. The psychology of hate and why people react. When you carry light, people living in darkness feel exposed. Not because you're judging them, but because your life reveals what they're running from. Jesus said, if I had not come and spoken to them, they would not be guilty of sin. In other words, truth forces a choice, and choices make people uncomfortable. So when you live with conviction, when you refuse to compromise, when you choose holiness over hype, people will project their discomfort onto you. Why you can't live for both worlds. Jesus makes something very clear. You do not belong to the world, but I have chosen you out of the world. This is identity, calling, and separation. You can't be chosen and be universally liked. You can't be set apart and fit in. You can't carry the cross and carry everyone's approval. The world hates what it cannot control, and it cannot control someone who knows who they are in Christ. What this means for you today. So what does this mean for you right now in this generation? It means 1, don't measure your obedience by people's reactions. If Jesus was hated for the truth, you will be too. 2, don't confuse rejection with failure. Sometimes rejection is confirmation you're aligned with Christ. 3, don't dilute your identity to be accepted. You were not called to be liked. You were called to be the light. 4, don't fear being different. Different is exactly what God uses. And 5, don't chase the world you were called to transform. You can't influence what you imitate. The encouragement Jesus built into this verse. Jesus didn't say this to discourage you. He said it to prepare you, to strengthen you, to anchor you. Because if the world hates you, it means you're walking the same path he walked. It means you're aligned with the same truth he carried. It means you're reflecting the same light he brought. And that is the highest honor a believer can have. You're not hated because you're wrong. You're hated because you're his. If this message spoke to you, if it reminded you of who you are, stay rooted, stay bold, stay aligned. And remember, you were never called to fit in. You were called to stand out. If you liked today's video, make sure to like it, drop a comment down below, and share it with a few friends. And if you like this kind of content we have on the channel and what we're doing with it, make sure you subscribe for more and what's to come. Without further ado, I just want to say, stay blessed, take care of each other, pray for each other, and I'll see you guys on the next video.